Great job today, guys. Genie was one of the bigger gainers, actually my biggest gainer. This one, the last couple days I've been pretty long biased, and the reason isn't because anything about the company. The company's, as far as I know, junk. But I mean, again, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that there's volume, the charts holding, the support's holding, and there's potentially a lot of shorts. And that's exactly what's happening here. And you can see today, especially, the way that it pops up. And you can tell that there's a lot of emotions in there. When it starts to ramp up, rips up. Starts to ramp up, rips up. And I had put out a chart that showed the 450s and the importance of it over the last couple days. And that was pretty much this chart right here, 450s, 455s or so, give or take a few cents. But you can see, as I had written, or as I had shown, that is the area to break. And you could probably go back to the last run and see the same thing again. So we're right at the highs, but for the other runs that followed after that initial run, the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, it took 6 tries to get through there, and then it finally did. And you can see the volume here, where I mean you're talking about a million shares within a couple minutes. So this was definitely a squeeze, probably stops hit, and a couple market orders or whatever. Then it started to pull back, and I mean they really absorbed everything. So those that were getting short into maybe the weakness today, or throughout here into the pops, this was that initial move where they think, well, crap, I got to cover, or they didn't. They ended up adding more, and then you've got that secondary push, and this is pretty much a nice big intraday squeeze. So you've got a lot of volume going on right here, all the way into the close, and it pulled back, which is actually, in my opinion, strong for what could potentially come, because you don't want this thing to close at the highs, because then it's likely that they all squeezed out. This probably trapped a whole bunch more shorts. I picked up a little bit at 448 from what I had sold into this rush, and a little bit more up here. I didn't sell anything over 480s. I sold 470s, 475s, and a couple at 464. So awesome day overall. Again, the trade plan on the scan last night was I want to be buying dips and use that 380 as a guide. And you can go back over the last couple days. The first day I had used 350s as a guide because it had put in a base. And then you could see yesterday that it put in basically a low at 380s a couple times. So any pullbacks today that we're holding, knowing that this thing is crowded, knowing that everybody has bashed this thing, for weeks now, there hasn't really been that opportunity for shorts to cover. It's been trending, it pulled back, but there was never that big washout, that final breakdown. And because of that, it's kept shorts on their toes, and they're probably not in a very good position right now. The shorts have been readily available for borrow, but that doesn't mean that people that have been holding them for 3, 4, 5, 6 days might not get they might get a buy-in. So not that I would be basing a trade-off assuming there's going to be buy-ins coming, but you need to be aware of that. And if shorting this thing, just make sure that you have a plan. So either way, very nice today. And you can see I had mentioned the 425s as a guide, and then the 430s. But if you're actually watching it, there was a very big offer at 430s. That ended up getting taken out, and then that nice little push up. And then there was a lot of 50K buyers, and they were actually soaking it all up. Same thing that you had at the close, which is why I was thinking that 448 might be a good snag, was because 450s absorbed a whole bunch. And you can see the volume. You had 125K into the last minute, and you had another couple 150K volume bars back to back in the last couple minutes into the close. So that is basically all these people that are covering, or potential new longs panicking in, and potential shorts that want to take a position overnight. So, how will it react tomorrow? each morning, the equivalent to Australian exchange or whatever it's on, usually it's been closing lower, so it's been kind of having a weak open. But I think at this point, it doesn't matter anymore what it's doing over there. All that matters is if they trap, and right now it's just a trading vehicle. The company doesn't matter. Yeah, there's risk that they could do anything, file anything overnight, which is why I'm not using much size. But I'm definitely trading it intraday. And eventually, once it exhausts all the shorts and longs, we're going to have an eventual crack, and it's going to be awesome. So very nice trade on that today, guys, and hopefully we nail it again tomorrow. OPK, obviously a very overextended chart. We've been monitoring this one for quite some time. Phil's been monitoring it as well, but there's no denying that this thing is actually holding relatively well. The wicks are getting bought up many times. Yesterday, I thought might be the day, but I respected the trend because it started to gear back up off the lows, and that 14 level is a nice area of support so far. 1410 rather, and it cracked back under, but then it ended up holding. You can see it gearing up, and I ended up covering pretty much the rest at 1418 to 1421, which I had from the 1450s range. I had started in this morning. It was up nicely right away, but then it started to grind back up, so I went ahead and took it off, and then I short some 1461, 1460s, let it toss around a little bit, added a little bit at 1458 once the 60s kind of came in. And as I told chat, I was waiting to see 1450s as to confirm them before I wanted to get in any other size. So we had that nice little bounce, and at any point now you can short based on the high days, and that's exactly what we did. So that was a really big gainer for me. Ended up being about $5,000. It was about 7 or 8 at the lows, but I was trying to be a little bit patient given the daily chart that we're talking about here. So doesn't mean that it has to pull back, and in fact, the more that it stays up here, the more that 1410s defend, the more likely that this thing can go to 15 or 17 and squeeze out. Do I think it's likely? Not sure, but 14 over and under, as long as that's holding, it could base for the next push up. So yeah, I'm short biased, but I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to look to join trend and go from there. BLTP, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Had a great entry, and I traded some pre-market short into the pops, and I covered into this morning washout. I actually got the low a day and 37.38s covered. Then that gave me a little bit of leeway so that I was able to short into the parabolic, and I got 73s. I got 60, what was it? Yeah, 73 here, 68s, and covered some into the wash. Got it again, 73s, and it started to fade off. But I went ahead and recognized the fact that it is gearing up and holding, and this is the front side of the move, so it's not anything you want to fight. Everybody was short on Twitter. Everybody was, this is a junk company, blah, blah, blah. Well, we know that, and we knew that back in the day. Same thing happened on BLTP. It was a plug rather. It was a junk company. Same thing, FCEL and BLTP. I'm not saying that it's going to do that again, but many people are very quick to judge the news and get short on the wrong side of it with a stock that's known for running, a stock that people are familiar with, that they'll go back to. And the reality is yeah, maybe it won't do what it has done before, but it's gonna have that second day. It's gonna have that secondary push because people are believers. These stocks end up becoming like a cult type stock, and people just buy and hold because they look at the chart and they say, wow. So anyway, it was a pretty perfect close because now tomorrow, hopefully we can get a gap up, 3 parabolic, and that's going to be a really nice trade, especially if we get into the 320s or something crazy. So it's possible. I don't know. MU, this was perfect. This was just really being able to take advantage of a weak open red to green. I had a nice big candle yesterday. I waited to see it pop up this morning, bought the dip. I was able to use these basically guide off the 30/80s as risk, got long and made about 50 cents a share and ended up taking it off. So this is holding very well, and I do think short term this could continue to go. A lot depends on the market since this thing is usually follows around with it, but it's a very nice predictable trade. Same thing, Twitter. I got long and pretty much nailed it. I got long on this dip right here, so ripped up real quick and pulled back, and I really liked it. I was going to risk off 46s over and under as a guide, and I made it just over 47, and I ended up taking it off. Then I rebought just a quarter size just in case. I was going to risk on 47 over and under, and I ended up losing about 30 cents or 25 cents or so. Yeah, patience would have worked, but it is what it is. So very nice rebound. Now maybe a week open tomorrow and we get towards that 50 level. It's already filled the gap. We'll see what happens from there. Box. Oh, that's good to see that it closed at 21. I wasn't here the remainder of the day, so I didn't see this action, which is awesome because the higher it goes, the better. The more chance we have it maybe a 23 or 24 push. But I got short, and it's a little bit thinner of a trade, so I got short into pops. Then I started to gear back up, and I went ahead and covered. I lost about 20 cents a share. Then I let it. Then it started to pull back again. Got short using 21s as a guide. Covered into the wash. Some rebounded a little. Started to come back, and I ended up covering the rest. 20, 25, 20, 20, 28 or so. So that was the main ones. IVAN, this was just another one straight off scan. This was either you were prepared or not. So I got some short, covered into the washout. Again, it wasn't a trade for everyone because there's not as much volume. It's really just about whether or not you were prepared. MGM ended up coming back. This was my only loser today. Well, besides the Twitter. Overall net gain on Twitter, but I was buying, same idea as MU, thinking potential red to green because I like this setup here. I like the higher lows. I like it coming up on this 21. If it breaks, we're going to get 22, 23. But I started in, and then I added a little bit, and it looked like it was going to go 2050s over and under. So I ended up bailing before it was 2051 where I bailed. Went a little lower and then ended up coming back, but still a radar, but it wasn't working. So I took it off right away, and that was that. So overall, we've had, it's an incredible market right now. It's really about focusing on 2, 3, 4 of your main favorite types of setups and letting the trade come to you. Because if you try to nail everything, you're going to be all over the place. You're going to have one working, and then you're going to have 3 or 4 other ones that are starting to get away from you. You'll add in random spots, and you'll end up wondering what the heck you're doing with 5 different positions and kind of random P&L all over the place. So the best thing to do is just to start in small, wait for that trade, and you can add into that winner. That's what I've been working on a lot. And it's not just about you nail it and then you add in. It's about you get the entry and then you wait for it to set up again. You don't just chase to add an entry. You pretend that you're not in that stock and where would be a good entry. And then that's when you want to go ahead and add to your winner. And that's been really the difference for me as far as a good ad and a bad ad. Again, this was the chart that I posted earlier, and just to kind of reiterate what and why we were looking at this 450 level. These are the things that I look for the big breakouts, and sometimes I post charts like this. So very, very easy one to predict where the volume is and where the action is going to be. If you guys have any questions at all you got to do is go to investorslive.com, go to contact, reach out, and just submit a ticket, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But again, hopefully you guys had a great trading day. It's an amazing market right now. It's a good market if you're new to build your accounts, but really it comes down to having a plan and really understanding why and what makes a good trade a good trade.